I love that song, and that is my prayer. I want to be better, don't you? We never stop improving. We never stop healing. That's what we're talking about tonight, the power to heal. But before, the danger of making copies from copies. The young monk is assigned to helping the other monks in copying the old canons and laws of the church by hand. He notices, however, that all of the monks are copying from copies. No one is using the original manuscript. So the new monk goes to the head abbot to question this, pointing out that if someone made even a small error in the first copy, it would never be picked up. In fact, that error would be continued in all of the subsequent copies. The head monk says, "We have been copying from copies for centuries, but you make a good point." So he goes down into the dark caves, the abbot does, to the underneath the monasteries where the original manuscripts are held as archives in locked vaults and hasn't been opened for hundreds of years. The young monk worries because he's been down there a long, long time. And he goes down and he sees the old abbot. He's banging his head against the wall and he's wailing, "We missed the R! We missed the R!" His forehead is all bruised and he's crying uncontrollably. The young monk asks the old abbot, "Father, Father, tell me what's wrong." With a choking voice, the old abbot replies, "The word was celebrate." Takes a minute, I know. You see, he missed the R, and it was celibate. You get, so they have been not getting any nookie all those years for the wrong reason. That's what they're trying to say. Okay. That's all I'm saying. I think nookie is acceptable in church, I'm pretty sure. All right, I'm going to tell you three things about healing tonight. The first is there's nothing to heal. That's the first thing I'm going to tell you. The second thing I'm going to tell you is that if you want to heal the thing that doesn't need to be healed, you've got to admit that you need to be healed. The third thing that I want to tell you, what is the third thing I want to tell you? Sorry about that. The third thing I want to tell you, I'm going to wait till I get there. But I'm going to tell you how to engage the power to heal tonight. At least one way that has worked for me a whole lot and a lot of other people I know. I'm going to start with one of the healing stories of Jesus. This one is found in all three of the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's factual. That just means that it came from one of the earliest documents of the people who followed Jesus. The Q document, I believe, or maybe it's the Mark material. But if there's this is a very widely held and taught story about Jesus. I'm reading it from Mark, chapter 5, 25 through 34. And a large crowd followed and pressed around him. And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and had spent all she had. Yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak, because she thought, "If I just touch his clothes, I will be healed." And in the King James it says, "If I could just touch the hem of his garment, I will be healed." Immediately her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she was freed from her suffering. At once, Jesus realized that power had gone out from him, and he turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" "You see the people crowding around you," his disciple answered, "and yet you ask, 'Who touched me?'" But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell at his feet, and trembling with fear, told him the whole truth. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." There's nothing to heal. You can argue with me if you want, but this is the deepest teaching of unity and of many of the mystical traditions in the world that, let me say it a different way. There is nothing to heal, only truth to reveal. So what we teach in unity is that we have never been separate from God. We are expressions of God's nature. So does God get sick?
No.
Is God broke?
No.
No. The eternal fullness and power that is God, and Thomas Troward, a wonderful New Thought writer, very influential in the late 1800s, he said that there are 7 qualities of God. There are actually many, many, but the 7 that he uses, I really like too. He says, God is life, light, love, power, peace, beauty, and joy. And as we teach in unity, if we are one with this divine essence, then guess what? You are life, light, love, peace, power, beauty, and joy. This is your nature. How many of you sometimes don't feel like life, light, love, peace, power, beauty, and joy all the time? I woke up this morning not quite feeling life, light, but you got the point. Yeah. So what happens in those moments when we are not expressing the fullness of God? Does it mean that we're broken? Does it mean that we are fallen? Might be the old Christian idea of we're fallen from grace. That is one narrative. But what we teach in unity is that something has occluded our sight. Something has stood in the way. There is an obstacle between our knowing of truth and the real truth. And we get these wrong ideas about who we are, about what God is, about how life is supposed to be. What's the thing Reverend Howard says? Life is meant to be good. And I love that word. Emma Curtis Hopkins, another early New Thought teacher, she said, if you don't like the word God, add an ooh, make it good. Put an ooh in God. And what she meant by that is that good is the nature of reality, and that is the ultimate reality is God is good. And she also had another quote too I just love. She said, there is good in the universe for me, and I ought to have it. Repeat after me. There is good in the universe for me. And I ought to have it. Yeah, Keith really feeling that one. I like it. And I ought to have it. That's exactly right. Ernest Holmes, another New Thought teacher, he said it this way: the only thing we need to heal is our belief in separation from God. The Course in Miracles says it this way: a sense of separation from God is the only lack you really need correct. So there is nothing to heal. You are already whole, abundant, powerful, peaceful, joyful. That's who you are. That's your name. That's your nature. That's your birthright. And any place you're not fully exhibiting that, you have believed in separation. And I'm not here to criticize and blame you for that, because that is the nature of incarnation. We all are forgetting. I love that Ram Dass quote, we are all walking each other home. That's what we're doing. We're all here. We have entered into this time, space, form world where we have apparent separation so that we can discover God again. Meister Eckhart, I don't know why all these quotes are just coming to me tonight, but Meister Eckhart said, I pray to God to remove me of God so that I may find God. We are always in this process of discovering our truth. So whatever is happening in your life that is not what you want, whatever is happening in your life that is a struggle, that is painful, beneath that condition, there is a belief. And beneath that belief is the truth that you are whole, perfect, and complete. Nothing missing. You're exactly who you're meant to be. You are already who God created you to be. So, the second point, first, there's nothing to heal. The second, if you want to heal the thing that you don't need to be healed from, you've got to admit that you need to be healed from it. Okay, let me say that a different way. In the 12 steps, we would say admitting there's a problem is the first step to recovery. This is contradictory to step 1. I do realize this. And yet it is the path. In order to reveal the truth, we've got to admit that there actually is something blocking it. There is something in the way. And I will tell you this, and I've said it, it's been a long time since I said it, so we have some newer people here. I have gotten permission from the Pope, I'm sure. You cannot save your ass and your face at the same time. Do I need to elaborate on that? You can't maintain an image of wholeness and perfection and do the work of revealing wholeness and perfection. You got to get real. You've got to say, you've got to get real with what is happening so that the really real may be revealed. So let me give you an example from my own life. I didn't think about this. Which one should I give? I have so many. Well, I'll tell you one that happened just the other day. I've been working through the Course in Miracles, and my friends, I've really been meaning to get to it for years and years, but some of the language and some of the, I'm arguing with it and arm wrestling with it as much as I'm learning from it, but it still is just smacking me in the face with truth. What exercise or lesson 26 is this: I do not perceive my own best interest. That sounds pretty negative. That sounds like a problem, that I don't perceive my own best interest. And the way you're supposed to take up this exercise is this. You think of a situation in your life that is unsettled, that is uncertain, and then you begin to see what you want to happen. You begin to enumerate your desired outcomes and notice how many times you're contradicting yourself. I had no idea how conflicted my mind was. And I'm just talking about little things like, I've got to get ready. I haven't got all my travel arrangements. I'm going to my old church in Reno this weekend. It's the first time I have been there since I came here. Very excited. And I just started thinking about all the unsettled things. And it's like I had all of these conflicting desires. I want to get the rental car. No, I want to let the hotel shuttle get me. No, I want to. And it was just illuminating. I thought I was sane. I thought I was clear and peaceful, and just taking that time and asking the question and noticing. And here's the thing. When I began to do this exercise about some other deeper, more troubling issues in my life, realizing I actually don't know what's going to be best for me going forward. I got free because I don't have to figure it out. And I don't have to plan it and manipulate it. And I don't have to get other people to get on board. Instead, what I get to do is show up as beginner's mind, to show up as this opening for God, and trust that the steps are revealed, and I'll make the best choice I know in every moment. But my chattering mind, my conflicting interest and desires were a block, were an obstacle to my truth. That's just one of the ways that you can do that. So whatever is going on in your life that is, and I know you all have problems because you talk to me, and I know you're human. Mary Morrissey says this: whatever your biggest problem is, that's the place where God is seeking to become more real in your life. So think for a moment about your biggest problem. It's right there. You know what it is. Underneath that problem is a belief in separation. Underneath that belief in separation is the truth of your being. Now, what I'm not going to do here is tell you that if you have a cancer diagnosis, that if you stop believing in cancer, the cancer will go away like that, although that has happened. But what I will tell you is that beneath the diagnosis, you are whole. And this is one of my favorite stories about Ernest Holmes. There were many, many healings under his prayers. He was a powerful shifter of the condition through knowing the truth. This is what he did. And one time he had been treating and praying for a patient who had cancer. And he came home and his wife Hazel said, "How is she?" And he said, "The patient was healed. The patient died." Because there's a deeper understanding. he knew that the time was complete, and her healing did not look like maybe what they thought. And this is where it gets a little tricky. Can we heal our bodies? Yes. Can we create money out of thin air? It seems like sometimes consciousness created prosperity and abundance. Yes. What do you do in the meantime? Are you broken until the condition manifests? No. You have to be whole right here. Before the condition changes, you must know your wholeness. That's the work. All right, first point, nothing to heal. The second, I'll say it a different way. Vulnerability and humility are required to remove the obstacle. You must admit that you need work. You must admit that there is something in your consciousness that is amiss. That's the second step. The third is this. I'm going to give you one of the methods of power to heal that has been most helpful for me, and it's actually in 3 parts. Discover, uncover, discard. Discover, uncover, discard. You first discover there is a pattern in my life. How many of you have married the same man more than once? And he had different face and different names. Thank you, Anne, for being honest. I saw that. Thank you. That's called a pattern. How many of you have found yourself in the same financial difficulty in different decades in your life? There's a pattern there. The first step in removing the obstacle till you can reveal the truth of your wholeness is to discover there's something going on here. I've got a pattern. The second step is to uncover. There are many methodologies, there are many paths that will help you to find that underlying belief system, to heal your warped thinking around this. There's a practice that I lead people in often called fear to faith, where you take a current situation and you trace the feelings around it, the emotions around it, back to an early childhood memory. And you get to that point where you realize, oh my God, this belief in lack was installed there. And from that point forward, I have viewed the world through those lack spectacles. That's what a false belief does. So you've got to do some work. There's nothing to heal, but you got to do some work. What is the work? People around here who've been coming, maybe you're new, you hear people like, well, she's done her work. Yeah, he's doing his work. What is the work? Well, this is it. It's the discovering, uncovering, and discarding. And there are, like I said, many methods. Get in some classes. The bookstore is full of beautiful books that will help you find techniques and methods of healing your consciousness. But that's really what it is. The uncovering is finding a belief, a thought system that is incorrect. What we actually teach sin is in unity is error thinking. That's all sin is. It's just a place where I'm thinking wrong and then I'm behaving in a way that reflects that thought system. The uncovering, I really don't believe this is meant to be done alone. I think you need a teacher. I think you need a mentor. In the 12 steps, we have sponsors. I think you need someone who has walked a little bit further along the path than you. Just someone that you can just reach out to, a spiritual director, someone who has a little bit more experience in this teaching. And just ask questions. A friend. But I don't believe that you can fully do the uncovering on your own because, have you ever tried, well, this isn't really true for me, but if you had really bad eyesight, you know how hard it would be to look for your glasses without your glasses? You know? It's kind of like that. You need someone else's eyes on your life, someone you trust. We have wonderful counselors. Mary Jane White is in the office. What days are you here?
Tuesday and sometimes Friday.
Tuesday and sometimes Friday. You can call the church office, make an appointment with Mary Jane. We have other counselors every day the office is open. We have spiritual counselors. Randall, he's over there. He's in here on Mondays, I believe. But we have amazing people here. But you don't have to do counselors or mentors formally. You just find people. Take a class. You like something somebody said, take them to lunch. Talk to them. But you must begin to build spiritual relationship. And that is really why we have this church. There's nothing in the unity teaching that says you can't do this by reading a book on your own and just healing all of your consciousness. So why do we have churches? Because we need each other. There's something about, again, the 12-step lingo would be the experience, strength, and hope of others. And then the discard. What to do with, how do you discard it? Well, you just let it go. That's what you do. Let me find this. Okay. This is by Reverend Sapphire Rose from the Agape Center. She let go. Without a thought or a word, she let go. She let go of the fear, she let go of the judgments, she let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around her head, she let go of the community of indecision within her. She let go of all the right reasons. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She didn't search the scriptures, she just let go. She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all of the calculations on how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the projected date in her daytimer. She made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. She didn't check the weather report or read her daily horoscope. She just let go. And she didn't analyze whether she should let go, and she didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a five-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call the prayer line. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. And no one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. And there was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it is just that. And in the space of letting go, she let it all be. A small smile came over her face. A light breeze blew through her, and the sun and the moon shone forevermore. I gave a talk on Sunday that was a little controversial. And I'm having conversations with everybody that it bothered, at least the ones who were talking to me. I'm sure that some people haven't said anything, but I'm having some conversations. We live in times of great upheaval and great change. It is our resistance to change that is the obstacle. Life knows what it's doing for you. Life knows what it's doing through you. Life knows what it's doing as you. But it is your resistance. I can't tell you how many, I turned 50 this year, but how many people when they turn 40 or 70 or 80 or 60, some number, get into this place of deep resistance of aging. Life knows what it's doing. The problem is not that you're getting older. The problem is your resistance. Let go. Something is shifting on the planet. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's going to look like. But I trust it. And I think we have a part to play in it. Cindy Wigglesworth posted on her Facebook the other day this beautiful meme. It said, "It's not getting worse. It's getting uncovered."
Yes.
Something is being brought to the surface. And it may feel to you like it's getting way worse. Actually, I'll tell you that the crime statistics from 20 years ago much worse than they are today. As a matter of fact, this is the safest period in the history of humanity to be a human being. The likelihood of having an act of violence acted upon you per 1,000 people, the smallest it's ever been. But now we know about it instantly. We begin to see patterns in the violence in certain groups of people. Something is being uncovered. I don't know what's going to happen, but I trust God. And I trust that God living as each of us, God living as all people, is revealing something for our good, for the glory of God. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I want to ask you to find your obstacle. What's the thing that you're holding on to, the old pattern of belief, the thing that is standing in the way of your miracle? Spend some time journaling about it. What is the change that's trying to come in your life that you're resisting? And practice just letting go. And see what happens. My feeling is you're going to be better than great. I love you. God bless you.
Amen.